Welcome to the newest installment of the Untitled Film Nerd Project. My name is Philip, and joining me as always is Teacher.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk about The Perfection. Before we get into it, spoiler warning now! If you want to avoid spoilers, skip ahead to the time code you see on the screen. Alright, so let's get into it.
So, what did you think?
This was like Black Swan meets Suspiria meets Hard Candy, but not nearly as good as any of them. Ultimately, this felt like a tale of two movies. The first part up until the hatchet scene, and then the second half from when Lizzie goes back to the school till the end. The first half was pretty decent. I was on board. I mean, it had some issues, but it was working. The second half was a movie sprinting way too fast towards the finish line, with twist after twist after twist, but no real time spent developing anything. It was like, here's a decision, moving on. Here's a rewind to what really happened, moving on. Here's an action, moving on. In the last 45 minutes, none of the decisions had any opportunity to spread their wings organically or logically reach a conclusion that felt palpable before we moved on to the next one. It was like, we want this thing to happen, but how do we get there? Oh, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at all. We just want this thing to happen. So yeah, for me, it was like a Jekyll and Hyde movie, good, then bad. What about you?
For me, this was like Sympathy for Lady Vengeance.
Oh, okay.
Meets Boxing Helena.
Yes, I reference that later.
Sprinkled with a little bit of Martyrs, but it's very lightly sprinkled. Like, so it's sprinkled with the Americanized Martyrs.
Oh, okay.
So it's very watered down Martyrs.
Right.
It's very lightly Martyrs. And that's mostly just from the motivation of the villains.
Right.
I will definitely give it this. It had me guessing because it kept on switching genres. You know, from body horror to revenge, which I wasn't buying the revenge because, you know, she just up and disappeared.
Yeah.
I was expecting for her to take her role again, but anyways, just kept on jumping back and forth, which I didn't have that much of a problem with. It was just very disjointed, and definitely affect the pacing. So yeah, I mean, I was entertained, but it most certainly didn't feel like a movie of its own.
Right. Well, there were some things that I did like. As said, I liked the first half. Lizzie's portrayal by Logan Browning, I thought was really good.
Yes.
Particularly her being sick and losing her mind on the bus. I thought that was really cool. I like that after the reveal, we see that Charlotte used a language barrier to fuck with Lizzie. Oh my God, are those bugs? They're not going to know what she's saying. And the bus patrons in general being super nice about the entire situation.
Yeah, I liked it when they were trying to hand her water bottles after the bus driver kicked her off.
Yeah, and like the cloth when she needed to change herself. So that was nice. Steven Weber did okay with what he had to work with. I like him as an actor, and he was all right. I thought some of the camera work was okay. I loved the shot of Anton slicing Charlotte's arm.
Yes.
That was my favorite shot, but then, like, 10 seconds later, she wasn't hurting at all. Like, that. He just sliced down the middle of your fucking arm. Like, I'm okay now. I'm going to stab you. Like, what? But that's really about it. I thought that, I mean, this was Logan Browning's movie. She did a great job.
Yeah. I liked, some of my favorite scenes was their first duet together. Loved the music. And then also the montages that it kept on cutting to them dancing and then them having sex. It was just very well shot. And then the end with the two of them, I guess, doing their next duet.
Right.
I really like that. A little bit of the shot of when she's chained up, ready to perform. Just the background of the giant cello case.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's about it.
Some things I didn't like or thought could have been better. I found Allison Williams' portrayal as Charlotte problematic. She was Rose in Get Out. For the most part, she was fine, but here and there she'd have like line delivery or reaction that seemed really, really bad. I'm not sure if that was on purpose due to the reveal later when she took the wig off and what had happened to her. I mean, so I'm giving some leeway there. The biggest flaw in this entire movie is the script. I have it written in my notes. I said this could have been really powerful in a Boxing Helena / Martyrs kind of way.
Yeah.
So we were on the same wavelength. The final reveal in the last minute, you could have tacked on 10 more minutes of torture on Anton to get to that point and made this feel like a proper revenge story. It did too much in the wrong way and not enough in the wrong way, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes.
And ultimately, I sat there during the credits and just felt disappointed. This was a huge what could have been movie had the writing been better. Also, did she have to cut her hand off to save her? Was there no other way?
Yeah.
That's the only way. This is like, what? And that's the fundamental problem with this movie. It's just the decisions don't make a lot of sense, or they're not given anything to be placed on for like stability. And okay, and side note, am I to believe that Anton's grandfather raped his dad, and then Anton's dad raped him and the two other dudes, and possibly Paloma? Yes. Like, and he couldn't rape the poor Asian girl yet because she didn't have the creepy rape tattoo? Did they all have creepy rape tattoos? This movie just didn't work for me. It's just disappointing because this is one of those that started off really, really well. All the good camera work, all the cool shit was really in the first part. I liked the last reveal. I did. I liked it, but I wish they'd built up to it. Show us them two going full Boxing Helena on him. Yes. I want to see him be tortured for what he did. Yes. Like, you poison the two other dudes and poison Paloma and then stab her in the back. Okay. And it happens so fucking fast. It's like, poison, poison, stab, fall down. Poison, stab, slice your arm, hatchet, stab. Now you have no arms and legs, and your mouth is sewn shut, and your eyes are sewn shut, and all you have are your ears. I like that. Great symbolism. Awesome visual of them playing together. But it wasn't as powerful as it could have been.
And part of my problem, to go along with what you were saying, part of my problem with the entire movie is Anton and his group just weren't menacing enough. You know, like the group from Martyrs. I mean, those were fanatics. Yeah, yeah. And I guess we're led to believe that these are musical fanatics, but they just didn't come across as menacing.
Yeah, agreed. Totally.
Which I think is what the goal was ultimately to be, but just kind of fell flat.
Anything else that you didn't like?
No, that's mainly it. I mean, just like I touched upon earlier with some of the pacing and yeah. Yeah. It's like they put more effort in throwing in red herrings than they did in any kind of storytelling.
Their storytelling relied on telling the story, then rewinding to show you what actually happened, and then picking up the story from there again. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Too much and not enough at the same time somehow. All right. Well, all things considered, would you recommend it?
Yeah. I would still recommend it. Okay. Not to everybody, but to most people.
Okay.
And because, I mean, for starters, most people have not seen Boxing Helena and Martyrs. Yeah. So
I would not recommend it. Go watch Boxing Helena or Martyrs or Hard Candy or Black Swan or Suspiria. Like, watch any of the other movies it lifted from that do it better.
Or Sympathy for Lady Vengeance.
Yes, that as well. Yeah, this just didn't work for me. Yeah, so I would not recommend it at all.
Okay.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that is about it.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up this episode on this disappointing movie. Thank you for listening. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with your friends or cool people who might dig the Vizcast. Please subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the newest content. And there is a link in the description below for the Patreon that covers all of the creative endeavors, so please consider showing your support. And until next time, my name is Philip.
And I am TJ.
And we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Bye.